Hello and welcome to the podcast, episode 2, where three very mature grown men discuss what the current scholars and historians are discussing, what's going on in today's events and everything. I'm here with myself, me, Philip, and Matt, say hi,
Hello.
and Amr, say
Hello,
hello. Yes, that is
hello,
Amr.
hello.
We each brought a topic to discuss. I think we're going to go ahead and take a big leaping jump right in with Amr's topic. It sounded very interesting. Do you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, my topic is Yoshi Shiratori. He's Japan's own
Oh,
Harry Houdini. He escaped from multiple prisons. To give you some background, uh, between 1868 and 1912, Japan's prison system was really, really harsh. And then after that, by the mid 1970s, the number of escapes dwindled to a single digit. But they had like so many escapes because they were so harsh and people were just leaving and trying everything they could to get out, even if they would get killed for it or punished even more.
Wait, what was the treatment like in the prisons?
I mean, they would beat them. They wouldn't give them food. They'd
Jesus.
put them in cells without
sounds
without
like a
like the
concentration camp.
necessities.
Yeah.
It basically was.
Sorry,
I
what
mean,
was the time period of this?
this was right before. I mean, I think this was like 1915, around 1915.
Okay,
But
so
it's like no, sorry. It starts 1940, and then like it extends to that was the period I was talking about. Was the 1915 was around where their prison system was reformed.
okay.
So this guy, he existed around 1940. um I don't think there's any people say there's no better prison escapee than this guy. He was dubbed the man that no prison could hold. He was initially accused of murder and robbery and was sentenced to Amori prison. All right. 3 years later, he picked the lock of his handcuffs with a short wire he found from a wooden bathing bucket. So, and this guy was innocent. He didn't do anything. Like they found later that it was like pinned on him by somebody else. But I mean, it was too late in the end. But regardless, after he escaped from the wire with the bucket, the police caught him again after 3 days, and he was sentenced to life in prison for escaping and stealing supplies from a hospital. He was eventually transferred to another prison called Akita Prison in 1942. Um, so in this prison, because he escaped the previous prison, they made it much more difficult for him to leave. They
Sweet.
had smooth copper walls all along the sides. So like, I mean, there's nothing for you to grip on.
Yeah,
There's
can't
no,
climb.
So this guy's
yeah,
just
there's
living in complete like isolation, nothing going
It's like
on.
it's like
yeah.
a hole.
And so the only opening was an air vent in the top of the room, and he would climb up and down every night. And this thing was hinged with like bolts. I mean, it wasn't just like something you could take off.
Yeah,
It
they
was
had like
solid.
Flex Seal there. They like not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
mean they had the mighty putty. I mean, it
yeah.
was ridiculous.
They had the Elmer's glue up there to
They had
stick.
the
Gorilla glue.
Elmers, yeah, and Japan didn't fuck around. So, anyways, eventually he pried the thing loose. Every night he would climb up the walls for over. I want to see how long it took him. I think it took him a couple months, but he would climb every day from the bottom of his cell to the top and try to get the thing off the air vent. Eventually he escaped,
Wait, how big was
and
the air
so
vent, by the way?
it was, I think, about the size of his shoulders.
Jeez, I'm claustrophobic.
Sounds
That is
But
sound,
awful.
this isn't even the craziest part. This guy is
Okay.
ridiculous.
sounds like a
Um,
sounds like a 1950s Michael Scofield.
but this guy eventually, so the people there, the reason he escaped from this prison, even though it was more difficult to escape from, he had more willpower to do it because he was being abused here much more than in the previous prison because he was a life sentence prisoner. He escaped from the previous place, so they like tried to
Yeah,
keep
he's
him down.
notable.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was this one guy, this one police officer that treated him well and didn't beat him, gave him food, etc., etc. So he went to his house asking for help, and he wanted to get his story out to the public about how he'd been abused, and he figured out how he could prove he was innocent and everything. Um, so he went up to the police officer's house, and talked to him, and the police officer eventually handed him over to the authorities, unfortunately, and he vowed to never
Oh,
trust a
what?
police officer ever again.
Bot.
Why would you go to the police,
Yeah,
first of all?
what?
Because that was the only person he knew and trusted.
Yeah, but obviously,
It's still, yeah, obviously, it was a police officer.
dang.
Didn't
And
want
it's
to go
and it was
to.
during World War II Japan. I mean, World War II Japan was strict, man.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I bet. Ugh. Could you imagine growing up in Japan in World War II and
Ugh.
being of like the age to go fight?
Jesus.
Like your only option was what? Like be a soldier?
Soldier or
Exactly.
die.
Yeah, be a kamikaze pilot or go hunker down in a bunker.
Dude. Okay,
Ugh.
so this next part of his um so after he got reported by that officer, he was transferred to the northern part of Japan in Abashiri prison. It was super remote in the middle of the wilderness, freezing cold in the mountains. It was terrible. I mean, it was reserved for the worst of the worst in Japan. Basically, it's sending them there to die slowly. So he was transferred there because he escaped 2 times, and the police wanted him to stay. They didn't want him to keep escaping his prison. Um, but eventually, he did end up escaping Abashiri prison. He had a they would cuff his hands and legs with iron shackles, and it would take a technician, I think, like 2 hours of sawing to get them off, right? So it's not like something he can just break.
Right, so he's like strapped down, like
Hmm.
Okay.
the
So
Exorcist, kind of like you're not getting out of here.
Yeah,
He's
and the
strapped down.
only the only exit in this prison was a vent, a window. Sorry, a window in the top of the room, smaller than his head.
what?
Right?
Wait, how small? Like
No,
maybe
no, no.
like
Sorry,
five
sorry. It was about as
inches.
big as his head, but
So big
he's
as his
smaller than
head.
his body.
Okay,
Smaller than his body. So like you can't fit through that. Your shoulders will not fit through that.
right.
Of course.
But anyway, so the only thing he could do here was, I mean, how would he escape this situation? You're stuck there, you're shackled,
So
arms
he's
and
like
legs.
he's in this deserted place, right?
Yeah,
Shackled,
yeah.
and
He's
the only
shackled.
way out, like this is the only option, is this place that's barely just enough to get through. Like, right? Am I
Yep.
right here? So
Even
which
no, naturally, you can't get through it. I mean, you have to have
naturally?
some. So I mean, if you can dislocate your shoulder and push it in a way that you can escape, then yeah, you can
Jeez,
do that.
that is
But I mean,
some
the biggest,
grinding right there. That is some
and
precision.
not only
Jeez,
that, not only that,
the
but
will to
his strength
survive.
was so reduced in that place. It's freezing cold. They give them raggedy blankets on the cold floor.
Probably just bread or
He gets
minimal
the
Yeah.
food.
only thing he gets to eat is miso soup. He gets
Oh,
a bowl of miso soup every night, or for dinner, for lunch, whatever. And because of the high salt content in the miso soup from the soy sauce, every night he spit a little bit of his miso soup onto his shackles, and a
oh,
little bit
What?
he saved a little bit of the miso soup and sprayed it on the vent that was barred. I mean, it was a barred vent, or a window, barred window, and it was iron. So
You saying iron
he
or iron? Wait, sorry.
iron.
oh.
Okay, sorry.
So he spit a little bit of the miso soup on his shackles every night, and put a little bit of miso soup on the window every night. And he did this over the months where it was cold, super super cold,
Is he
because he
trying
couldn't.
to rust the window
Yeah,
with the
yeah, and
shackles? Oh,
eventually, he couldn't do anything else right now because his strength was so reduced that even if he did manage to get out of there, I mean, he would die outside in the cold. And so, anyways, eventually he broke the shackles off. The screws just fell out one by one, and the screws in the window fell out one by one. And every night he would taunt the guards and he'd say, "I'm gonna escape this place one day. I'm gonna escape this place," and they would
Oh,
laugh as they beat him.
Oh my
You
god.
know,
Wow.
and eventually, I mean, he was able to dislocate his shoulder and squeeze himself out of the small space on the metal frame where the guards would slide in his food. I mean, think about
Wait, I'm
that.
imagining like this little place where you put a tray, like
small
you
box.
shove a little tray in there
Oh,
where you get food. And he just
Yeah,
like he's like a little Pokemon. What's that Pokemon that like
exactly.
morphs into whatever?
did a
Ditto. He just dittos his way under there and just like like turns into like a liquid and then becomes a solid once he's out. Like what? This man is insane.
But this is not the most insane thing
Oh,
he
it's
did.
not. So we haven't even peaked
It
yet.
is
keep going,
not.
keep going.
So this he escaped during the blackout in 1944. It was because of the war. So they couldn't communicate with each other during this time. So he's able to get out, escape, run away, and by the time they even knew where he was, that he was missing, or could communicate to the other Japanese police, he had already gotten out and far away from the prison. So he was tried again he was caught again eventually, and he was tried for escaping, and he was sentenced to death by the court. And he
This
was
man has
assigned,
horrible luck.
Yeah.
on top of that, he was assigned 6 armed guards and was under surveillance 24 hours a day. In this prison, Sapporo prison, he was incarcerated in a specially made cell. It was designed to prevent him from escaping through the air vent in the ceiling.
So
This
like
was
a whole
before.
cell designed just for him, like to
Yes.
prevent him from escaping. Like
At
they
that
get like
point,
the
like,
world's top 5 scientists are like, all right, this man can escape
Yeah,
any
dude.
prison. Like,
So I mean, think about this, man. Like, they built a cell specifically to prevent him from escaping. He has 6 armed guards watching him at all times, 24 hours, right?
yeah,
I mean, obviously they're not looking at him the entire time, but they're standing by his door, checking on him like every 5 minutes. I
yeah.
mean, they were very, very careful.
Like he can put like he could fill a balloon with air, maybe draw like a smiley face on it, put some bricks under his covers and escape.
oh my gosh.
No, but the prison guard, they had so much faith in this new cell, they didn't even handcuff him anymore. And
Sweet.
yeah, and it's true.
Pride
That
before
was
It's
the
the
true.
fall.
mistake.
It's true that he had aged and was super fatigued by constantly escaping and running away and everything.
Getting
And so
beaten.
this is so the last thing he could do. So again, they only gave him a bowl of soup every night, and every night he would take the floorboards under his bed and dig a little bit. And
Oh,
eventually he was able to dig all the way out and escape out of the prison. I mean, it was the most difficult cell to get out of on paper, but it had the simplest solution. He
Just
just
dug a
literally,
hole, like dug a hole to China, like that
yeah.
kind of thing.
And the guards were like, I mean, they didn't know what to do.
They got fired.
It took them a while to even find out how he was able to escape. But so eventually so the war took place in America, occupied Japan and everything. And he was happy because, I mean, he wouldn't be considered a prisoner anymore if they had democracy and he could actually plead his case.
Wow.
So after that, after he escaped for a year, again, like, it was still occupied by Japan, but he was still a prisoner. He was still a fugitive. And so eventually he's sitting on a park bench after a year of being free, and he's offered a cigarette by a police officer. Moved by the kindness of this guy, he admits that he's an escaped convict.
oh my
What?
Take
gosh.
him in
This man,
again.
his career is just to break out
Why?
of prison. It's like
Okay,
this is
okay,
his life
but
goal. Like he's just like, I'm bored. I want to go
I
back to
want to escape
prison.
from
You
prison.
know, like it's my time. My
Give
time
me
has
a
come.
give me
challenge.
another challenge.
Yeah.
No, but this time he was tried again by the court. They noted in all of his escapes, he was a good guy, really. I mean, he didn't harm anybody, any of the guards. And despite the fact that the guards were abusing him all the time in all these prisons, I mean, he could have easily been angry and attacked one of them as revenge, but he didn't do that. He was innocent of the murders, and he just was a man trying to escape injustice.
I need to put this man in
So,
a bedrock prison.
Yeah.
So eventually, they didn't find him not guilty of the murder because it'd been so long, so they couldn't really revoke that. But he was given the final sentence of 20 years of prison, and he requested that he be imprisoned in Tokyo. He spent his days in Fuchu prison until 1961. He was given parole, and he traveled to this place called Amori Prefecture and reunited with his daughter so he could tell her his life story. He lived for about another decade after that and eventually succumbed to a heart attack in 1979.
Gee.
So how old was he when he
Yeah.
last got imprisoned for the 20 years?
I'm not sure, but he was old.
Of course.
He's definitely old
They
by
should have
now.
just put this guy in a rocket and just shot him up into space. See what he could have done there.
Honestly, man, this guy
Escape
is.
space. Do it.
Yeah, but I mean that's about it.
It's kind of insane. Like I can't believe I've never heard of this guy.
Ridiculous.
What was his name?
Yoshi Yoshie
Okay.
base Shiratori.
Why don't
Alright.
we have a screenplay about this guy?
Yeah. Why is there not a movie about this man?
There is.
There is.
Oh. Oh.
Ah.
They made a movie in 2017.
Wait.
Let me see what it's called.
Because I know I recall a movie about that has like the guy who played Rambo. What was his name? Called The
Sylvester
Escape.
Stallone.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone. He's in a movie called like The Escape or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's called Prison Break,
Prison Break. Well, maybe that was the
directed
TV
movie.
show.
by Yoshihiro Fukuwaga.
Prison Break.
Fukagawa. Excuse me.
Wait, does this guy play Anakin Skywalker?
Does not have that many reviews. Kind of
What?
crazy. Just looking on Letterboxd.
I don't know. Okay. Anyways. Wow. Okay. Very interesting. All right.
Thank you, Almer.
Thank you, Amr. Let's give it up for Amr.
Thank you.
Okay. Matt, did you want to go or do you want me to discuss mine?
I mean, I'll go. It's all right. I'll do a split in the two stories.
Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead.
So today, we're talking about coronavirus and the impact it has on all the movie theaters and box offices around the world, and basically how it's delayed all of these movies. And the next course of action is what's going to happen after the coronavirus. Like, are we going to be able to open these theaters back up and it'd be just the same as how it would be? But I
Mm.
mean, no one's quite sure yet. I mean, like AMC right now is going through a horrible time with they've they're looking to announce bankruptcy and they're trying to get bailed out currently,
Jeez.
and no one knows if they're ever going to recover. And let me remind you that AMC is the biggest movie theater chain in the world.
Yeah, like I was a
Dude,
subscriber
I'm
there.
honestly
Yeah.
worried. Like, I mean, it's true that these movie theater chains have made things, you could say it's worse in a sense, in terms of quality. Like, if you go to like a smaller movie theater chain, or not even a chain, just like a local theater, they'll have better quality concessions, nicer
For sure.
seats, better customer service. But
There's
then on the other hand, you have the value of AMC with the A list and stuff like that.
And they
yeah, and
multiple showings,
Exactly.
many
It's
theaters. It's
so
always
convenient. It's so
available.
convenient.
Yeah.
lucky to us, the fans, the people that have these AMC A list, they have paused our subscription service.
Yeah,
They
I
aren't
did
charging
check on
us,
that. Yeah.
which was really nice of them to do that. And
Yeah.
I made sure to check on that. I kind of like what they're doing actually with. I think it's just AMC, but they're releasing some movies online. Like AMC's,
yeah,
you can like
hmm
pay
well,
like a subscription or I don't know. You can pay some whatever amount of money, and you can watch whatever movies was supposedly supposed to come out over whatever during this whole pandemic, but instead it comes out online, so you can just tune in online and watch it. Like
yeah, exactly. Like what they've done is, I mean, they can't really compete with Netflix and Hulu
oh,
and
of course,
whatnot.
yeah,
But they have opened up their own streaming service for larger movies at decreased price. I think it's like $2 to rent a bunch of movies.
What movie was coming out? I forgot. I can't recall what.
Plenty of movies.
They had
No
one
Time
movie.
to Die. It was
Yeah.
coming out, but it got delayed.
When is Dune
S-
coming out? Or
Dune
when
was
is it
available.
supposed to?
Dune,
Dune,
no, Dune's coming out this December.
December.
It
Okay.
has not been delayed.
Okay.
Pray it. Cross your fingers it does not.
Something was getting delayed. That was going to be available for streaming online.
I
From
know
AMC.
a
Isn't
Disney
Wonder
movie.
Woman? Wonder Woman is completely ignoring its theater run, going straight to streaming.
I
I
was
don't
going
think
to
so.
stream.
I think it got delayed by like 2 or 3 months. Like I think I read that it has like an
Wonder
August
Woman?
release. Mm-hmm.
I thought I. Let me see.
What's the point of like going like? Why don't they just streamline it, going straight to like streaming services or like you skip the
I
box
mean,
office, all that. Like I enjoy going to the movie theaters. I enjoy getting popcorn and making a trip out of it. But why not just like you make a movie and then release it to Netflix,
the,
release it to
the
the online, like
the
kind
thing
of like
is,
how
there's
like
people.
sorry,
Oh no, it's fine.
kind of like how
So there's
what was the movie with Kim Jong the
oh
The
comedy,
interview.
the
the
interview,
interview.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah,
like how
yeah.
they did that, they
That
released it online,
controversy.
yeah, because theaters wouldn't play it.
That's honestly one of the first instances of that, and that was pretty incredible that they did that in such a
Yeah,
short notice. But
But I mean, let's talk about the actual effects on the theaters. They caught, in their money wise. I mean, how are they gonna recover from this? They're sitting there with no profits, no income, not even the A-list
so,
subscriptions they could
yeah.
squeeze out of people.
Because
so
a lot
basic.
of the money that movie theaters, like like how they make money is through concessions, is through
Exactly.
popcorn, is through the overpriced soda you buy. You know, you're paying $5 for a large soda. Like that's how they make their money.
So basically, AMC announced that they would be able to make it to midsummer closed, and by doing that, they furloughed all of their corporate employees, so no one's getting paid by AMC right now.
Oof.
Maybe
Hmm.
employees at the local theaters and whatnot, but all corporate employees are furloughed and they're not getting paid at all. And they actually a few days ago, I think they just got a $500 million bailout so they could stay
Jeez.
above.
Well, I mean, I hope so. I really hope we don't lose the biggest
Yeah, I
theater
mean
chain in America. Is it the biggest, or is Regal bigger?
I
it is
think
the
they're good.
biggest.
Okay, it is.
It is.
'Cause
Yeah.
anywhere I go, I always see AMC.
And
Yeah.
I just looked it up. Wonder Woman will go to theaters. I was wrong,
Yeah.
Okay.
but
Okay.
there was reports. This thing says that there was reports that it was going to streaming, but Warner Brothers confirmed that it is going to theaters.
And I mean, back to what you were saying about going straight to streaming services. Basically, like I mean, people like us, if there's a big hit, we might see it 2 or 3 times.
Hmm.
And then like if you just send it to a streaming service, they're gonna want to put a $20 rental, which is pretty appetizing to people like us that want to see the movie, you know. And I mean, $20
So
is
$20 is pretty steep.
it's pretty
I
steep, but
think.
like up like what $7 from a normal ticket, you know, for the normal
Yeah, but I
person.
mean, it's a rental. It's not like
Yeah,
how long is a rental?
you get it's. I think you could watch whatever movie that's streamed that should have been released is like $20 for like two watches, I guess. Which I mean, I guess it's not bad, but then again, like how many people are gonna actually stream the movie, you know?
True.
So they're missing out on a lot of revenue there for a huge movie that takes a significant amount of money to
I mean,
make.
if it was something I was really, really excited for, like for
Right.
example, if it was like Infinity War or Endgame or something, in a heartbeat, I would pay $20. I mean,
Yeah,
absolutely,
of course.
absolutely. But like, I don't know if it's something I like that I would just see because I had A-list. I probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, like right now, we just missed out on No Time to Die. We missed out on A Quiet Place 2.
Oh, I did want to see that.
Like those should be in theaters right now. It's a shame that they're not.
So wait, what are they doing with that? I'm sorry, I don't know if I missed that.
A Quiet Place or
Yeah, what are they doing with a Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place, I think was delayed till September.
So they're just gonna delay. They're not gonna release it anywhere else.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're gonna delay it so everyone can go
Jeez,
together
man, I
So
was
as
it's
excited for
gonna be
that.
like a
yeah.
huge, like every movie's gonna come out at once.
That could be a good month though.
Yeah, it could be a good month. It could help the theaters a lot, or
Yeah, they
if they could make it.
and then I think No Time to Die has been delayed till November.
But do you think people are gonna want to go out to theaters once everything
It,
kind of quiets down? Do you
that
think
that's
really?
what I was wondering is what I was gonna ask you guys. And
I mean, why
instance
not?
like, I mean, yeah, why not? But like, are they gonna? Is AMC and all these other theaters gonna do what they were doing right when the virus kind of started, like making people sit every other seat, or like, are they gonna
I don't think.
rearrange
I
their
mean,
theaters?
this is the thing. It all depends on how the coronavirus is, and if we develop a vaccine. I don't think they're gonna go to social distancing protocols, like we are
Yeah,
now. But I mean, maybe they take more precautions in terms of like sanitizing stuff and
of
et cetera,
course.
et cetera.
Yeah.
And I mean, people like to say this coronavirus is like the flu in a sense, but it's way worse than the flu, of course. But
Oh
like,
yeah.
maybe one day it'll get to the point where we'll have the vaccine and whatnot, and it'll be in a sense kind of sort of like a flu. Like, yeah, somebody would get infected at the
Yeah.
movie theater maybe by getting coughed on or something, or sharing a drink. But at that point, they'll leave the movie theater and get sick and then be able to go get treated, hopefully.
Yeah, and once we get a vaccine, I mean, we don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah,
But the fears are it's gonna take a long time to get that going, and if we flatten the curve now, but we open up too early, you could start another curve and another curve,
exactly.
What do you think?
and
Sorry. Good.
and it just keeps getting worse and worse and lasts for a year, 2 years, whatever. We'll be in lockdown every couple months.
And that's kind of why a bunch of these movies have delayed till 2021. Like, we've seen a whole year of a delay for some of these films.
Jesus, man.
So what do you think anti-vaxxers are thinking about this whole coronavirus
Oh
vaccine?
Dude,
gosh.
if I mean that's just
Like, are they just totally
I
stumped?
I can't see why. I mean, there's no logical explanation as to why you shouldn't get vaccinated
At
if
this
there's a
point, they have
coronavirus
to be
vaccine.
scared of the coronavirus. Like, your
Like
essential oils is not gonna
like
fix
this
the
is what
coronavirus.
happens when we don't have vaccines for diseases. This is what happens. This is what we have to do. So if you want to do that and not get vaccinated, be my guest, but I don't think you want to do that.
No,
Agreed.
but also in my topics was as of the past few weeks, I've seen many instances of drive-in movie theaters popping up around the United States, some old, some new. And I
Heard about
mean,
that.
Yeah, I have to.
and like, for one instance, there was a drive-in movie theater in out somewhere in Germany. It's called Marl, Germany. I'm not sure where that is, but they had a drive-in theater open on April 6th and had a double bill of The Lion King and Parasite, and it sold out within an hour.
Wow. So drive-in movie theaters are coming back, baby.
I mean, they could, like,
Do we
I
have
mean,
one here near us?
there's
Nah,
one
we do.
at not near us. I think maybe like 4 hours away. But
I don't know. I kind of enjoy driving places like the drive-in restaurant by the beach we went to. You guys remember that?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
Like I
yeah.
cool.
enjoy just like pulling up. Waitress comes out to our car. We order food. They bring
Yeah.
it out to us. We drive away. We're
Just
just like chill. It's
exactly
nice. Listen to
the
music.
same thing. Same thing. Someone brings snacks and
Yeah.
up to your window. I mean, you might sacrifice some quality. I'm not sure how good the
The audio. Yeah.
drive-in audio or even the picture is, but it would definitely be an experience. Like, yeah, I think
You can bring
not
your
many.
yeah, you can bring your own snacks, your own
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
and but you gotta think, like, there hasn't been many like, not many people have gone to drive-in movies since like the baby boomers. Like, we have a
Yeah.
whole, like,
Yeah.
Gen X and all these millennials have probably never been to a drive-in movie.
And it kind of
S-
kind of helps with like nowadays you go on dates to a movie theater, like you can't talk, you gotta be shh, shh, shh. Can't like can't kiss or anything. But like back then, if you go to a movie theater, like a drive-in movie
uh,
theater, you pull up in your car, like you can chat, you can make jokes about the movie without bothering like the person next to you or anything.
oh
Or
yeah, there's definitely
yeah,
some ups to drive-in
yeah.
movie theater, and that's why I was saying, like, we have this whole age that has never been to a drive-in movie and would definitely
I've
go.
actually never been. I would love to go to
Hey,
one.
I haven't either,
I would
but
love to go.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, as of right now, there's only like 320 drive-ins in the United States, and just 25 are open right now. But
Jeez.
some of these drive-in movie theaters that are open right now accounted for like 100% of the revenue, box office revenue
Said,
right
look who's
now.
winning. Look who's
Yeah,
laughing now,
Yeah,
AMC.
it's like I'll have the
You and your
turns have
big rooms.
tabled.
Yeah, the turns have tabled.
exactly. It's like so. Like, do you think we could see more drive-in movies popping up, or as like opposed to going to AMC theaters? Like, do you guys think this is
See, I,
even
I could see
plausible?
it as like a retro trend type thing. I'm
Like
not
a
sure if it
hipsters
would.
coming back, like
Yeah, exactly. Like kind of like those resurgences, but I'm not sure if it would ever really compete with the main
Yeah,
theaters.
I,
I
I,
It
do
I
might
don't.
enjoy
get
my
bigger.
comfy AMC
It might get a
chairs.
resurgence. It might get a revival relative to where it is now, but it will. I don't think it will be as at the level that normal theaters are.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be cool, but I don't think it'll make a comeback, kind of quite like vinyl records.
Yeah, I mean
It
that's
might.
kind of like what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it would
But
definitely be
if this
something
Corona
cool
stuff
to
keeps
see.
going, it could make a comeback. So
I mean,
we'll
you're
have to
running
see.
out of options at that point. So, and some of these movie theaters are running out of options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean imagine if AMC opened a drive-in theater franchise.
If they
Just
opened one
like
in their parking lot, I'd go with
just
that.
Bro, absolutely.
Yeah.
just bulldoze their whole movie theater and just
Just
put up a
just
drive-in at
just
every
like
single movie theater. That would be crazy. Just to drive up to a movie
They
theater
just get
and it
bombs and
just
just
be a
bomb everything,
screen.
and then just
no,
replace it.
they just wipe the front off they cut the front off the building and just put like take the seats out and everything
Yeah, they
and
pull
just
the
leave the
seats in the park.
screens up.
Yeah.
Would be something.
Would be something else,
Would be.
baby.
But hopefully this will all go down and we'll be able to see all these movies because I think there's like now 50 movies just in 2021 that are something that we would all see.
Yeah.
And I mean, of course, I'm sad because I myself I had the plan to see 52 movies this year,
I remember you making that promise.
and now I mean I was on course for it. I was 11 weeks in, and I saw like 13 movies,
Oh,
and
so
then
you're doing good.
I
You
was
did
ahead.
good.
And with the amount of movies that were supposed to come out this year, I was going to see like 70 movies this year, and now it's all gone to shit. But 2021 is looking very promising.
2020 is canceled. I repeat, 2020 is canceled.
But hopefully it'll turn around.
Yeah, it won't last forever.
It kind of needs to because I want to go to the theater.
Yeah, I'm tired of chilling. I want to chill at the movie theater, not chilling at home. All right,
Movie
Well,
theater.
I think
theater.
that wraps it up for my topic. Philip,
Yep.
would you like to go ahead
All
with
right.
yours?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead. Get a sip of water real quick. Okay, so for my topic, wrong piece of paper. I will be talking about one of the quote-unquote greatest unsolved mysteries in U.S. history. Have any of you heard of D.B. Cooper?
DB
Yes.
Cooper. Yeah, it sounds familiar. Very
Yeah,
familiar.
you know of him?
The dude that just like disappeared.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Yeah, but I mean I forgot the details of it, but I
Yeah.
am
Okay.
familiar.
Explain
So,
from the beginning.
well, technically, that's not even his name. No one knows his name. That's just an alias he used, right?
Okay.
So,
Uh-huh.
it's 1971, right? It's the day before, let's see, Thanksgiving. This man, mid 40s, about 6 feet tall, walks in, buys a
Okay.
plane ticket, $20 plane ticket for Northwest Orient Flight 305, and uses the alias Dan Cooper. But because some sort of like media misinformation thing, uh, the name gets printed out as DB Cooper. DB Cooper. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so where's he flying to? I want a $20 plane ticket.
Yeah. Well, this is the 70s, so he's
Uh,
flying domestic. All right.
All right.
So he's
I'll give
just
him the benefit of the doubt.
yeah, DB Cooper's yeah. So this guy is he's wearing like sunglasses, jet black hair. He's got a trench coat. Like he's like a James Bond villain pretty much.
Mhm.
Like he's
Very menacing.
like kind of like something you would make up, sort of like. It's like imagine like a James Bond villain with like some loafers or something. Something you make up.
There's
So
a very distinct look for this man
very
you're
very distinct look, very like
describing.
1950s. Um, so the flight takes off, and DB Cooper hands a flight attendant a note and says, "I have a bomb in this briefcase." And she's like, "Oh crap! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What do I do?" And so like this is like a commercial airline. There are like hundreds of passengers. There's like two pilots.
Damn.
There's flight attendants, and this guy has a bomb in his briefcase. He opens it up, wires everywhere. It's a dead ass, no cap. That's a
No
bomb.
I
cap.
got a bomb.
That's a goddamn bomb right there. So he's
He
got a
said, "I am not capping on
yeah.
this
They're like
one."
cruising at like whatever altitude. There's a bomb in the plane. Nobody panic. It's a goddamn bomb. But so he hands the note. Everyone's like, "Oh crap! What do we do?" So what do you do if you're in that situation, right? You have demands. What would you guys demand?
I mean, I'm sure he would demand some money of some sort, or I mean, maybe freedom. I don't know what was his demands.
So
The
his
$7 sandwiches on the airplane.
Free
he,
beers.
he did demand some cheeseburgers and some bourbons. So while he's sipping on some
Ah,
cheeseburgers and bourbons, but he actually did his real demands were 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills, which equates to roughly like 1.2 million today.
Hmm.
oof.
So he's got this money. He's like, sorry, this is gonna happen. Like this needs to happen.
And he's
Uh,
on the plane. He's able to muster up 200K and
Yeah, I was about
yeah.
to say, how's he gonna get all this money on the plane?
So yeah, exactly. So he lands. So he orders the pilots to land the plane in Seattle, right? Um, the I guess the FBI or whoever's dealing with was dealing with this, like the airline people, they gave him the money. They gave him the parachutes after he releases the passengers, right? So he lands the plane in Seattle. He releases everybody. He gets his money. He gets his parachutes, but he keeps a pilot. He keeps like some of the staff on deck,
hmm
like some of the flight attendants, some of the pilots,
people
just
running the show.
right. So he's got his
Someone to
money.
serve him some food while he's enjoying
Yeah,
his
yeah.
final
While,
flight.
yeah, while he's being a little James Bond villain, while he's you know he's like he's a stereotypical James Bond villain. He needs to like explain his plan to someone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like he can't just explain it to no one. He just explain to someone. So like so then they're in Seattle. He's got his money. He's got his parachutes. He takes off. So and he orders the pilot to fly to Mexico City. So
Wait. Backtrack real quick. So
yeah,
how did he get away with getting all these people off the plane
uh,
and then retaking off?
I'm
I
guessing
mean, he has a
because
bomb.
he has a
I
bomb
mean,
What?
I mean, I mean, yeah, he has a bomb, but you
so
know,
like he lands the plane right in Seattle. So everyone's like, "Oh my god." He's like, "Get out of the plane. Give me my money." So they make the exchange, the passengers for the money, and then he's like, "All right, let's keep
wow.
going." Like while we're ahead. Run for the hills.
Very well. All
Very
right,
well.
continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, bro. Where was I? So right, so after he gets his $200,000 in $20 bills, and he orders the pilot and the staff to fly him to Mexico City. In between there, this is where the mystery is. He jumps out of the plane with the money and the
Oh my
parachutes,
gosh.
right? And need I remind you that this man is wearing sunglasses, like loafers, a trench coat.
He's parachuting out of the plane just
This
looking
Yeah,
man
like a
is a
badass.
villain.
this
He
man
is a
is like a
villain.
Hollywood villain. Like he does take off his tie. So like imagine him like taking off his tie, kissing a flight attendant, and just jumps out.
The
He's
flight
leaving.
attendant
He's
starting to fall in love with her.
redeploying
Yeah.
She's
from the
getting
gulag.
Stockholm syndrome,
Which
and
is funny because he actually did. I was looking at some of the reports, and he was very flirtatious with one of the flight attendants.
what a man.
Yeah, what a man.
He had to have his there's a Bond girl and there's always a villain
There
that has
always is a
his
villain.
girl as well. So
Yeah.
All right, so he jumps out of the plane.
He jumps out of the plane, and he's nowhere to be found. Like the FBI, the plane lands. Like he jumps out of the plane somewhere between like Seattle and Nevada. So like this is very rugged, a lot of trees, very just like not
Desert.
yeah, very not a place you want to kind of be parachuting out of. So like
honestly, at this point, I'm rooting for the guy.
yeah, you're kind of rooting for this guy at this point. Like so he jumps out of the plane with his money, and no one can find him. Like where's he gone? He just like no one can just vanish out of thin air, right?
Yeah.
Like
Of course not.
Well, maybe this guy.
well, maybe this guy, maybe
Yeah,
he's like a
you never know
Houdini,
what he has up his
Japan's
sleeve.
Houdini, Yoshi.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Guy's ridiculous.
yeah, he is. Um, so the FBI launches this huge investigation, one of the biggest investigations in U.S. history. They have like 800 suspects, and they're like, all right, this guy's like he's a trained professional. He's probably in the military. He knew what he was doing. He knew the area. But then they're like, nah, this guy definitely does not know what he was doing. After they rolled out some suspects and they got more details, like where he was jumping, the altitude that he was jumping at. One of the parachutes they gave him, like the reserve parachute, was sealed shut, like sewed shut. So like he was definitely not. He was definitely an amateur. Like no one just
So
jumps out of a plane. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, they didn't never found his body. They never
Yeah.
found. And I mean, they would know when he jumped out around the area. You know, they
Yeah.
could easily search
Yeah.
the area.
Exactly.
So if he did die parachuting down,
They would find him
They would find him.
they
eventually.
probably would if something didn't eat him or you know
Exactly.
or
I mean, they
something
would have
happened to
found
his body.
remains or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would have found
Parachute
something. I mean, it's the FBI. They're looking for a guy that threatened to bomb a plane. I mean,
and
they
took
would
a
definitely
lot of
put a good
money.
amount of resources into it. Yeah,
Exactly.
he took $200,000, 1970 money. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. Okay, so the investigation continues. Many people are like, this guy did not survive. Like you guys were saying, there was like 200 miles per hour winds. Like this guy was an amateur, and there was 200 miles per hour winds. Like, could you survive that? No.
No.
There was, and plus on top of that, it was like a heavy wooded area, rugged, like I said. And I mentioned earlier, he's wearing like freaking loafers and a trench coat. Like this man is not prepared. So then in 1980, gets a little bit more mystery added to it.
Okay, let's go.
There's a
Let's
big
hear it.
break in the case, right? On the Columbian River, this little boy, he's just like chilling, he's fishing. He finds a decaying package worth $5,800 of bills.
5,800?
$5,800. And
In
all the
bills.
cereal, yeah, all of $20 bills. And all the serial numbers match the serial numbers of the ransom money given
Ooh.
to DB Cooper. Right?
And this is the Columbia River in like Canada, like Washington.
Yeah, like Columbian River, about like pretty much where he dropped down.
Okay.
Yeah, so like he found this like buried, like it was buried, like the package was buried. So he finds it, and he finds these
So he
$20 bills.
survived.
Yeah.
So you're saying he jumped out and then went back to Washington, Seattle area.
Wait, what do you mean?
No,
Sorry.
this was in Columbia River.
The
Where
Columbia
is that?
River.
Columbia River.
Columbia River.
Think- Where is this Columbia River?
It's in like Washington.
Yeah, so I'm saying you said he jumped out over Nevada.
No, I said he jumped out in between Seattle and Nevada.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So like he
So
probably like
okay, so
hitchhiked his way or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this boy like just finds like this is the craziest thing to me is that like the serial numbers match that of the ransom money, and this was buried. Like so he survived, but no one knows where he is. Right.
Right.
There's a couple conspiracy
jeez.
theories. One is he took the money and founded IMDb, which is kind of a pun. So say it out loud.
IMDb. DB.
IMDb.
DB Cooper.
IMDb. So he's saying pretty
Cooper.
much
Ah.
hiding in plain sight, which I thought was kind of funny.
He likes the movies, so he
Yeah.
became the movie.
Yeah, he likes the James Bond villain movie, so he became the movie. I love that. Another one which I thought was kind of funny. We pull it up. It's kind of more of a joke, but it's DB Cooper is Tommy Wiseau. Here what I have: hijacked a plane in 1970s, demanded money, jumped from a plane mid-flight, never found, vanished.
Oh my
Real age
gosh.
unknown, real name unknown, ambiguous, possibly affected speaking style. So I guess like when he was speaking to the FBI agents, he was like negotiable American currency, and then obviously we don't know what happened to him. And then Tommy Wiseau appeared mysteriously with a large amount of money. Colleagues say he's much older than he claims to be. Ambiguous, possibly affected speaking style. Background unknown.
It's clear.
It's clear. I think it's very clear. And then also another conspiracy theory is it was a plot by the airline crew to kind of extort money. That this guy never existed because there's no picture. If you look up DB Cooper, it's just like a sketch artist.
Yeah.
Did you guys look him up?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
That
pretty interesting.
Yeah,
yeah,
That
that
theory.
could
because the guy like from all the reports, you know, he sounds like just some guy that someone made in their imagination, you know, like a James Bond
very
villain,
well.
especially in the '70s, like when James Bond was kind of peaking, you know,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
he jumps out of a
Damn,
plane
man. But what?
mid-flight.
Like,
I think that's the most plausible
Yeah,
it's such a
option.
mystery because
Yeah.
we don't know what the because I mean if the airline attendants and the staff did take the money and extort the money, I mean what happened to the money? They probably questioned them, searched them, and stuff like that.
well, the money never
I
came
mean
back into circulation.
exactly. So like,
Yeah,
what happened to it?
exactly.
Where is it?
No one
No
knows.
one knows.
So there's no more developments after 1980, or
Well, in 2016, the FBI like officially shut the case down, but there is a website you can go to. If you have, but like the FBI is still accepting like evidence and anything that could lead to the
tips and
case.
whatnot.
Tips, yeah. But there is a website you can join. I forgot the link, but there's a website that you can like kind of get a part of, join the community, try to find out like if you have anything you want to add to it or something that could connect the pieces, go ahead
Mhm.
and add to it. So yeah.
All right, guys, let's stop the podcast and find DB
Yeah.
Cooper.
So
That's how we will make our money.
yeah, if anybody listening right now, please
Help us
help
find
us.
Find
DB
DB
Cooper
Cooper.
DB Cooper,
and
this will
his
give us the
fortune.
headline. Yes, we want the 1.2 million dollars. This will make us big. We're talking to
We can
you,
buy
Tom.
some new mics. We could buy some new mics.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe we can
Um,
have a whole
We can actually have a
podcast
studio.
setup. Yes,
So that's all I
this
got
could
pretty
be.
much.
for DB, if you're listening,
Yeah, DB.
you know what the right thing to do is.
Yeah, you know
Turn yourself in
turn
to us
yourself into
first.
us. Yeah, give us the money. Turn yourself
We won't.
in.
We'll
We
put
won't.
you
We won't.
we'll put you as a guest on our podcast.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, just come to us. We won't tell the FBI. We'll keep it
eh,
hush hush
Give
around
us
here.
some money, you know,
yeah,
it'd
maybe
be
give us some
nice.
hush hush money. We're cool with it. You know, it's fine. But like, even if it's like even if he was alive today, he'd be like 80 years old. So like,
He wouldn't give a shit.
he wouldn't give a shit. He'd be like in an island right now somewhere.
Hopefully, he doesn't die from coronavirus.
Maybe he already has.
Yeah, maybe.
Shh.
Shh. So is that all you guys got?
I think so.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. You guys want to plug anything?
Thank you to our 3 reviews on Apple Podcast.
Yeah, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or Stitcher.
Rated 5 stars by our 3 viewers, 3 ratings.
Yeah. So we are
Thank
also
you.
live on twitch.tv/The Secret Chat Podcast every Wednesday. You can come chat. We'll respond during live on the podcast. Yeah, that's all I got. So yeah,
You
thanks.
can also find us on Spotify and just about any other podcast website.
Yeah. Please give us a rating. We'd love it. Give us feedback. Give us maybe
We will set something up for the fans soon.
yes. Love you
Stay
guys.
tuned.